Hello students, I am Rajesh Kumar Singh from Divine Public School, Monapur, Gorakhpur. Here we are going to read English literature Hornbill. Start lesson first. The Portrait of a Lady by Khushwant. About the author, Khushwant Singh, an author of multi-talented personality, is one of the most celebrated author of India. Apart from being a writer, he has been a lawyer, a good orator, public relations officer, and the editor of the Illustrated Weekly of India. He wrote novels. Among the novels he wrote, two are the most famous. They are Train to Pakistan, published in 1956, and other I Shall Not Hear the Nightingale, published in 1961. About the lesson, the portrait of a lady is an unique regard to elderly people. It is a heart-touching, cordial tribute to a value-based religious life of an elderly grandmother who is not equipped with so-called modern education and culture, yet able to make civil and cultural foundation of a child strong and humanistic in his very young age. This story enables us to realize beauty of noble mind, thought and action, which makes human a real sense human. This story enables us to realize that not only the human beings but even the birds and animals have feelings and self-respect and are able to respond love and tender feelings properly and in the most appropriate, honorable way. This lesson teaches us the value of universal oneness in every aspect of life. My grandmother, like everybody's grandmother, was an old woman. She had been old and wrinkled for the 20 years that I had known her. People said that she had once been young and pretty and had even had a husband, but that was hard to believe. Let's have explanation. Grandmother, being the mother of father, is often an elderly woman. Arthur's grandmother, like everybody's grandmother, was an old woman. Though she had been old with wrinkled face, yet she had been so active and agile in her daily routine that the author had found no difference physically for the last 20 years in her. As far as the author could remember, she had been same unaffected with the passage of time for the last 20 years. People said about the grandmother that she had been once a young and pretty woman in her prime age and had a husband. The innocent mind of the author was not ready to accept it. It was a fact, but it was very hard to believe for the author to believe this reality. Let's proceed the next line of this paragraph. My grandfather's portrait hung above the mantelpiece in the drawing room. He wore a big turban and loose-fitting clothes. His long white beard covered the best part of his chest, and he looked at least 100 years old. He did not look the sort of person who would have a wife or children. He looked as if he could only have lots and lots of grandchildren. Now, let's have its explanation. Grandfather, the father of father, is often the oldest and the most dignified person of a cultured family. A photograph of the author's grandfather hung above the shelf of the guest room. The picture told many things silently about his personality, including his simplicity and dressing habit. He put on a big turban, that is, a head covering, and loose fitting clothes known as kurta in native tongue. He had long white beard that covered the major portion of his chest, and it, that is the picture, showed that he was 100 years old at least. The grandfather looks so old and innocent in the picture due to his age that it becomes hard to think that this was a person who had a wife and children. The author thinks emotionally, and his innocent mind of a grandfather or grandmother loving loving child doesn't believe it. Grandfather looked in the photograph as if he could only have lots and lots of grandchildren. Students, let's see the remaining lines of this paragraph. As for my grandmother being young and pretty, the thought was almost revolting. She often told us of the games she used to play as a child that seemed quite absurd and undignified on her part, and we treated it like the fables of the prophets she used to tell us. Let's have its explanation. As far as to think about the grandmother being a young and beautiful woman was a revolting emotion for the author. He had seen her in her old age from his very childhood and wanted to accept her in the same old-aged loving grandmother. The grandmother often told them about the games of her childhood which she used to play. It seemed completely odd and undignified to her pious individual, and the author and other family members accepted it like the stories told by the sons are the very founders of the different religions. Accepting the grandmother as a playful girl was as odd as accepting Arun Govil as a common actor after doing the role of Ram in Ramayana for the common folk of India. Come on paragraph second. She had always been short and fat and slightly bent. Her face was a crisscross of wrinkles running from everywhere to everywhere. No, we were certain she had always been as we had known her. Old, so terribly old that she could not have grown older, and had stayed at the same age for 20 years. She could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. Let's have its explanation. As the author loved his grandmother with the blameless, innocent heart of a child, who showed utmost monorite on the affection of his grandma. Out of deep love of a grandson towards his grandma, the author describes her every aspect of her life and loving act in the home. According to author, she had always been a lady of short stature, that is, not very tall, and a proudy one. She was fat, that is, she was satisfied and contented with her worldly conditions. Contentment could be reflected in her little fat personality. She was slightly bent. Overall, Arthur's grandmother was a lady of a short, fat, and slightly bent forward personality. She had a lovely face of old age. Very minute descriptions. Often the face of an aged person is not so lovely. But the personality of the grandmother for the grandchild is such as she was a lovely old aged woman. It was filled with lining crossing each other everywhere. It was a wrinkled face of a lovely old honorable lady whom a grandchild loves with the core of heart. We were certain that she had always been the same, unaffected with the passage of time, as we had seen her unaffected with growing age. She looked old, so much old that she could not be older physically, and for the Arthur and other childmate. She remained in the same age for the last 20 years. As the other elderly people of neighborhood said that she was a pretty woman with a charming look, was beyond imagination for the Arthur and other family member of the present time. Arthur says that the grandma could never be a charming lady of modern time by applying different cosmetics to make her face or look charming and attractive. Yet she might have been beautiful, beautiful in thought, beautiful in action and culture. And in his own, the grandmother has maintained that beauty even today over even in her old age. Students, let us see the remaining lines of the paragraph second. She could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. It was over. Now, she hovered about the house in spotless white, with one hand resting on her waist to balance her stoop and the other telling the beads of her rosary. Her silver locks were scattered untidily over her pale, puckered face, and her lips constantly moved in inaudible prayer. Yes, she was beautiful. She was like the winter landscape in the mountains, an expanse of pure white serenity, breathing peace and contentment. Now, let's have its explanation. The grandmother moved about the house in her innocent white garment most of the time. Her pious, spotless soul now could be reflected in her white clothes, hair, and in daily routine. When she stopped, she put one hand on her waist to balance her stooped body, that is, bent body, and other hand telling the beads of rosary in the prayer of God. Her white, shining silver hair locks spread over her Eloise face. The face of the grandmother looked solemnly grave due to lips closed tight inwardly in her teethless mouth. Her lips moved, always reciting the sacred prayer of God in unaudible voice, the voice which could not be listened properly. Certainly, the grandmother had real beauty, the beauty of mind and soul. In other words, she owned spiritual beauty, the beauty of thought and kind feelings that attracted everybody indirectly. Thus, the authors regards her beautiful old lady. She was like the holy winter landscape in the mountain as holy sons lost in deep meditation reciting the sacred name of God in unconscious covered with silver snow breathing in peace and contentment. Students, let's see the reading paragraph 3. My grandmother and I were good friends. My parents left me with her when they went to live in the city and we were constantly together. She used to wake me up in the morning and get me ready for school. She said her morning prayer in a monotonous sing-song while she bathed and dressed me in the hope that I would listen and get to know it by heart. I listened because I loved her voice but never bothered to learn it. Let's see its explanation. The grandmother and the author were good friends. Like good friends, they were attached emotionally to each other. Like a good friend, the grandmother proved herself a stepping stone for the author in the path of physical, intellectual, emotional, and above all, spiritual development. As author's parents left him with her when they went to live in the city. Both the author and the grandmother lived continuously together. Here, in the village, the grandmother wake up the author in the morning like a mother, dressed and fed him breakfast before going to school. She said her morning prayer in a monotonous, that is, an uninteresting and unpolished sing-song to instruct the author in religion in his very childhood. She sang the religious devotional song to the author while bathing and dressing him for the school in the hope of making him to learn those prayers by heart. The author listened. The author listened because he loved her voice, but never minded to learn them. Students, let's see the remaining lines of paragraph 3rd. Then she would fetch my wooden slate which she had already washed and plastered with yellow chalk, a teeny earthen ink pot and a red pen, tie them all in a bundle and hand it to me. After a breakfast of a thick stale chapatis with a little butter and sugar spread on it, we went to school. She carried several stale chapatis with her for the village dogs. Now, let's see its explanation. After dressing him, that is the author, for the school, she would go in the house and brought his wooden slate, which she had already washed and plastered with chalk of yellow color. Then a small earthen ink pot, and a red pen, all tied together in a bundle. She gave it to the author. Before going to school, she gave him a still thick chapati with a little butter and sugar spread on it to eat as breakfast. Like a father and a loving guardian, she escorted him up to the school. She carried many stale chapatis with her for the village stray dogs to feed. Feeding the stray dogs was a glimpse of love and caring attitude towards the all beings of the grandmother. Students, see paragraph 4. Reading. My grandmother always went to school with me because the school was attached to the temple. The priest taught us the alphabet and the morning prayer, while the children sat in rows on either side of the veranda singing the alphabet or the prayer in chorus. My grandmother sat inside reading the scriptures. Let's see its explanation. Grandmother, being a lady of religious temperament, she also went to school along with her grandson because the school was attached with the temple. In those days, the priest of a temple or a shrine often performed the work of elementary education for the children and were respected persons of the society. Here, the priest of the temple taught the village children alphabet and the morning prayer. The children sat in two rows facing the opposite and recited the alphabet or the prayer in chorus, that is, sang collectively or in group. When the author learned these things in the veranda of the temple, his grandmother sat in the temple reading the scriptures. Students, let's see the remaining line of paragraph 4. Reading. When we had both finished, we would walk back together. This time the village dogs would meet us at the temple door. They followed us to our home, growling and fighting with each other for the chapatis we threw to them. See its explanation, as there is nothing so new in this paragraph to be explained. At C, when the grandmother completed the course of reading religious volumes, that is scriptures, in the temple, and the author his school usual course completed, both came back home together. At the time when the school was over, the village dogs would meet them at the door of the temple. The dogs had become familiar with them. They followed them, fighting and barking on one another up to their home for the chapatis which threw them to feed on the way home. Some important questions to evaluate yourself. Please make a note of these questions. Start. Question number first. What did people say about the author's grandmother? What was the author's opinion? From paragraph first. From the same paragraph, how did the author respond at the narration of games played by her at her childhood? From paragraph second. Question third. How does the grandmother look to the author for the last 20 years? Question number 4. What was the usual routine of grandmother in the house? From paragraph second also. Next question. Why the author says, my grandmother and we were good friends. Question is related from paragraph 3rd. Question number 6. Why does the author listen her monotonous song? From paragraph 3rd. Question number 7. What was the author's breakfast before his going to school? And question number 8. What did the priest teach children in the school? Where was the school? And question number next. What did grandmother do during the school time? Some difficult words. Wrinkled means shrink and filled with linings. Portrait, a photograph. Mental piece, shelf on which something is kept. Drawing room, that is guest room. Sort of is kind of or type of. Undignified, against dignity. Undignified, inhonorable. Puckered face, the face who is teethless and the lips are tight inwards. Expense of, that is stretch of. Serenity, holiness. Spelling, you can write holiness. Mental peace, self. Thanks. We will see you again.